If you look at YouTube now, it seems like as if the buses of the 90s have completely been forgotten. Because most of the enthusiasts nowadays, they just post the new stuff, and a lot of the enthusiasts from so-called my generation, they have already like more or less retired and moved on with their lives. So many at times, I feel like as if I have to always hard carry the community when it comes to like the historical aspect of this country. Like I'm not even like technically considered a local, but ironically, I'm the one doing all these videos. So just to get you all started, I drew all of these myself. You can say it's like a minimalistic design, sort of. So when it comes to bodyworks of buses in the 90s, you all would remember this one. But these buses aren't this bodywork. I'm just using this as an example. The bodywork that we will be focusing on today is called Walter Alexander PS. Now, for Volvo Olympians, there is Royale, and there's also Walter Alexander Strider as well, but this one specifically is PS. So the whole point of this video today is the buses, they all look similar, but how do you tell the models apart from one another? So we'll just start with the most difficult one, you can say. If you remove like the manufacturer logos, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between these two bus models. But there is actually one way you can tell. So the one on your left, this one is a Scania N113CRB. The one on your right is actually Mercedes-Benz O405. It's not Mark II like the SMRT ones. This one is a Mark I. I mean, yes, this one's obvious. This one's obvious as well. But let's say I remove these. The way to differentiate between a Scania and a Mercedes-Benz is actually by this little protrusion thingy. So the reason why this protrusion exists is because for the Scanias, this is basically where the Alexander badge goes into the Walter Alexander badge, but it's just named like Alexander, the badge itself. I know it's a little blurry because it's zoomed in, but if you take a look at my friend's photo from businterchange.net, this area over here, it is the Alexander badge, and basically that's how you tell them apart. I think I'll just go through every bus model here. So as I've said before, this one is a Scania N113CRB. So this over here is where the Alexander badge goes, and over here, this is where there are letters in capitals Scania. So this is how it looks like. I know it's a little blurry, but even in real life, it's not so obvious. You gotta take a close-up look at that. So this bus model was fully retired in 2009. And for this bus model, there is NEC, non-air conditioned, original aircon, and some of the NECs, they became converted aircon, CAC. Every single N113 in Singapore is Walter Alexander PS bodywork. There were no duple Matsite bodyworks of this bus model. And they used to have a different transmission. I think it was like a Scania transmission. And then eventually they got retrofitted with Voith 384.3. So these buses, they were like the quietest buses of that era. Especially when they were brand new, like with the Scania transmission. I really cannot remember the name. I wasn't even born back then. As for depots, they were in Bedok North as well as Brado Bus Park. Ang Mo Kio Depot had like none of them. So it's like Brado Bus Park, 232 had them, 238 had them. I think pretty much every like Toa Payoh feeder had them, be it the feeders that survive till today or the feeders in the past, like 237, 239, and stuff like that. But majority of them were in Bedok North Depot. Like 39 had them, 18 had them, the Tampines feeders, again, existing ones or the ones in the past, as well as like the Pasir Ris feeders, be it existing or the ones in the past, they all had them. Like I said before, unfortunately, I have never even been on one of these buses, simply because of location. But I do have 7 tickets though. I think I picked them up. But then it makes me question, like, did I just mistake an O405 for an N113 or vice versa? Yeah. This one is a Mercedes-Benz O405 Mark 1. Mark 1s were like in production from like 1983 to 1992, like around there. I'm not exactly sure like which year they stopped production, but basically it was like the mid-ish or early, I think it's like mid 1980s to the early 1990s, or even mid, I'm not sure. But anyways, you all know that this one is my favorite bus, and I'm telling you right now, a W3E sounds infinitely better than ZF EcoMat. I know ZF EcoMat, like, it whines and howls a lot more and is more melodious, but seriously, you can never beat the authenticity of a W3E. Okay, to be more specific, the gearboxes that this bus used, the ones in Singapore were like W3E110/2.2R. However, in like other countries, there is like W3E112, which sounds a little different, and there is W4E as well, 112. So this means it's 3-speed. It has 3 gears. It is an automatic bus, but it's 3-speed. And this one means it's 4-speed. And then the O305, like that double-decker bus, I think it had something like W3D. It was like a gearbox that was like made specifically for the double-deckers. I mean, Mercedes-Benz doesn't really produce double-deckers in general, but back then they actually did produce one and it used this gearbox. As nice as this gearbox sounds, unfortunately the ones in SBS Transit, when these gearboxes worn out, there weren't like replacements anymore, so they just got retrofitted. Not all of them, but only some units they got retrofitted with Voive. I think it was like, it is either this or these, like 384.3 is the ones from the Scania N113, and 381.4 is used by Volvo Mark IIIs. I know some people claim that they use like 851.2, but I think that's nonsense because 851.2 is like way too old, and I don't even think SBS Transit had like 851.2 gearboxes lying around. It's most likely 381.4 or 384.3. And then some of them, they got retrofitted and it became identical to their SMRT counterparts. The only difference with it being the SBS Transit ones were Mark I and the SMRT ones, I mean Trans-Island Bus Services to SMRT, they were Mark II. As much as this one is my favorite bus, unfortunately, objectively, I have to say this bus is actually terrible in terms of like performance because SBS Transit downtuned them, making them struggle near like 60 kilometers per hour, and Mercedes-Benz buses in the 90s, the cooling wasn't good, so they overheated a lot. And it was a common sight to see these buses when they were like layover, the bus captains, they would open the rear engine cover just to cool them off. It was, yeah, it was an experience. So yeah, the way to identify this bus is by the Mercedes-Benz logo, or if you hear the bus having a lot of growling sounds, yeah, that is an O405. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. So this one is Walter Alexander PS, and all of the Walter Alexander PS for the O405, they were all original aircon. And then there was also DM OAC and DM NAC. But the NAC, every single one of them got converted into CAC. So yeah, you can now go research like the aircon models of the SBS Transit O405s because I think that's really interesting. It's like they had Sutrak, which is from America, I think. Then there's like Webasto or Denso. I cannot remember their names, but I definitely remember Sutrak. You would have noticed that this one looks the most different, as in for the Walter Alexander PS bodywork. So this one is a Volvo B10M. Now, many enthusiasts of like my age, they only remember like Mark III, and majority of them only like remember Mark IV. But the thing is, I have been into buses like earlier than them, even though we're like the same age. I know I don't look or sound like it, but I was born in 1999. I am turning 26 this year. So yeah, but since I got into buses earlier than them, I actually remember this one. I remember taking it on 272 and I remember taking it on 79. It was a DM non-air condition. It was like kind of a rare cameo-ish sort of thing. But yeah, this one, it is a Mark II. Mark 1 was like SBS 9C if I'm not wrong, but okay, these are Mark 2s. So just a quick overview. Walter Alexander PS and Dupo Metzek, they had two bodyworks, and then all of them came in NAC. Like upon like arrival into Singapore. Is that right? Yeah, correct. And some of them, not all, eventually became CAC. So none of the Volvo Mark IIs were in original aircon. Every single one of them was NAC, and only some of them got converted. I think Ayer Rajah Bus Park had like the converted ones. They were on like 74, 91, 151, 191, 200, 95. I think 96 also had them. The most iconic thing about this bus model is what people call it. I didn't coin up this term, but it's like a ZF cat howl. Just a quick little fun casual remark, but it looks like as if this bus has like eyebrows like this. It's kind of cute. This one is Maxon's favorite bus actually, but anyways, okay, the easiest way to tell this bus apart from the other buses that have the same Walter Alexander PS bodywork is over here, like the shape of it. It's like, how do I put it? As you can see, for the Scania and Mercedes-Benz, it's like all purple. But then this part is actually white. And you can also see that like the Volvo Mark II has sort of a like shape to it. So technically, this one is actually the easiest way to differentiate them. And then some Volvo buses of the 90s or the early 2000s, they kind of have this thingy over here to signify that it's a Volvo bus. And then I think it's something like this, like this, like this, and then it just says Volvo if you look closer. But I think that one was only like present in the Dupo Metzek bodywork. Wait, actually I might be getting my facts wrong. Is this thing Dupo Metzek or is this thing Volvo? I think it's Dupo Metzek. I think I got it wrong. So anyways, you might be wondering, what exactly are these? Like here, here, and here. Like, you know, this grille over here, it's like standard for like Walter Alexander PS, but you might be wondering like, what exactly are these? So these are like vents. And the reason why Volvo Mark II has vents, it's because it is a mid-engine bus. Not rear engine, but a mid-engine bus. So in case you guys don't really see it, Volvo B10M, okay, the 10 refers to like how many liters the engine has. Basically, a B12 consumes more diesel, more fuel than a B10. So the 10 literally just means like capacity liters and stuff like that. This M over here denotes mid-engine. I think TL is like transverse, lateral, or something along those lines. But anyways, M means mid-engine bus. So these vents are the easiest way to like, okay, I know I said like the overall shape and the white and purple is like the easiest visual way, but if you really want a clear-cut way to know if this is a Volvo Mark II or not, just look for the vents on the Walter Alexander PS bodywork. So for the Volvo Mark IIs, the Volvo logo goes here, it's in white. And then the Alexander badge goes below it. Another interesting thing is the placements of the SBS Transit logo. So for Volvo Mark II, this only applies to Walter Alexander PS bodywork. It is actually placed on the right hand side, like this. And then for the Scanias, because the Alexander badge is meant to go here, the SBS Transit logo is also on the right. This is another way to differentiate. So for the Mercedes-Benz O405, the SBS Transit logo is in the middle. And Mercedes-Benz, yeah, it is the only model whereby the SBS Transit logo goes in the middle, like as for the Walter Alexander PS bodywork. Because for Dupo Metzek, if I'm not mistaken, both Mercedes-Benz O405 and Volvo Mark II, the operator logo is like in the middle as well. So that's it for this video. This is how you differentiate between the Walter Alexander PS bodywork of the 1990s buses. Oh yes, one more thing. You might be wondering like what exactly this is. So this is not the bus stopping sign. This one is actually the indicator to pay cash. So how should I say it? It's like there is this like rectangular thingy hanging down from the near side of the bus, and then it's written over here. This one is meant to signify an ISLink card, and then the words are pay cash. So nowadays, if all the ISLink card readers on the bus is faulty, you have to declare breakdown. But in the past, I think if they malfunction or something along those lines, they don't actually declare breakdown, they just continue their journey, and this pay cash, it would light up. I think it's white. I don't think it's red. I think it was like white. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section, please. So yeah, this is actually to signify that you cannot use a card. I mean, by the visuals, you can only pay cash. And then I also remember that like for the buses in the past, they had like a blue sticker over here, and said sticker would be like aircon, non-aircon, or something along those lines. Again, my memory is quite faint regarding this, so yeah, sorry about that. And the interior color scheme of the buses was that I think the ones in green were priority seats, and the other seats were like pink, the seat cushions. And there used to be TV mobile until it got discontinued. The floor was like dark gray. The interior, like in general, is like light gray, white. Okay, not white, but it's like light gray. Except the Mercedes-Benz O405 DM converted aircon. It's like when they became CAC, or like they got refurbished, the interior color scheme actually became cream colored. Cream meaning like sort of like yellowish, orangish, like sort of like light brownish kind of thing. It's not gray, as far as I remember. The grab poles were like all silver, and the hand grips were like the circular oval. Oh no, I don't think it's oval. I think it's the circular hand grips. And then some of these buses, the grab poles, they would like split into two, kind of in the same fashion as Scania L94UB, SBS 2888T. It split into two, basically, the grab poles. It was silver. And then I do remember that like most of the buses, the top panels of the bus, like on both sides, they are like sort of maroonish color, or is it like dark pinkish purple sort of thing, except the Mercedes-Benz O405 DM CACs, which those were like gray, and then the interior was like cream in color. So yeah. So in short, for the Scanias, I have around seven tickets that I've picked up, or maybe I've actually ridden on one of these buses and I didn't even realize, maybe on service 18 or what, I don't know. But yeah, that's for Scania. Mercedes-Benz O405, I've taken loads and loads and loads of them. Volvo Mark II, I remember taking them on 272 and 79, and yeah, that's about it. See, I'm doing all these videos unscripted, so that's why, you know, this thing over here, I just like brain farted just now, so yeah. Doors closing sound for all three models, as far as I can remember, it was just beep. It was just like a long, continuous, high pitch beep, which I like a lot.